Hey everybody, it's Goomer. I got Womble and Ted here for the VDL draft analysis. I know there's been a couple of these videos out, but we're gonna go through hopefully a little bit more in depth and just and talk about each team and what we think is interesting for each team. And honestly, I think a lot of the teams are threatening, so I don't even know how to tier them in the first place. So we're not going to tier them really, but you know, personally, I think it's scarier when you look at the team and you're like, you're kind of like, huh, like what does this team do? I think that's almost scarier because it's, you don't know what to prep for. So, um, yeah, you guys just want to jump into it?
Yeah,
Sure. Let's do that.
Okay. So I pulled up the first team here, the Atlanta Talonflames, and I've never used this draft site before this draft, but I like how they have at the bottom here. You can see the stats for this team, like the average and the total, and even like priority moves down here and whatnot. Um, so I like starting with that. Like, overall this team looks pretty balanced across the board. Um, they've got an interesting team. Uh, what do you guys think of their picks?
Okay, let me go first. I think their team is really, really interesting. Like you said, Goomer, his team is really balanced. But the one interesting pick that I see for his team is that Scolipede. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
so sure how he would utilize a Scolipede. It's a really good, all attacker, being mix sets, all out attacker, those type of stuff. But to see if he can utilize a baton pass and swords dance, pass it around to other mods that are able to utilize the attack stat. So that's one thing that I have noticed about his team.
yeah. I was when I was looking at it a bit earlier, I was like, it's a bit all over the place. I thought, but I think there are some parts to it that work quite well. Obviously, you've got 3 Trick Room setters on there, which can absolutely help Copper Archer. I'm not a fan of its G-Max form just because you don't get the defense boosts. I'm not sure if you two agree with that.
Yeah, I think in VGC it's really not as useful. Steel Spike is definitely way better than just setting up spikes.
Yeah. Then
So
that Monetric pick as well, I was a bit because you're mainly going to be using it for lightning rod, and he's got nothing to benefit it from it really for the
yeah,
redirection.
yeah, it's also got minus, but he doesn't have any plus users. So
Plus, no,
yeah, that's kind of interesting. Some things I noticed on this team is he definitely seems like he has some hard hitting sweepers,
I don't know what you're dealing with. You explain what's going on here.
but they're kind of frail. So
No, don't you
Caparaja,
okay?
not the best defenses.
You do the same
Porganzi,
every day.
Reggie
Explain.
Drago,
Talk.
um, and then even Gengar too. Like his sweepers aren't super bulky is the thing, um, but yeah. So I think that's one thing. And like Womble said, he's got lots of trick room options. He's got some good combos too. Reggie Drago, Slowking Galar is something I picked in another draft, but I haven't really got to utilize it that well because you can do like Draco Meteor, then just reset your stat, obviously. So that's something interesting. Um, and you've got PZ, who's weak to fighting, but you've got 2 ghost types here, Chandler and Gengar to cover that, so that's really nice. Um, and then I'm interested to see how he uses the Cottony personally, because you look at like typically a Regidrago is paired with a Whimsicott, and you can't really do that because with Cottony because Cottony doesn't get Tailwind, so it's not speed control isn't necessarily what you're using the Prankster for. I mean, I guess it gets Cotton Spore, but yeah, you could usually with a Whimsicott you'd be able to fake tears. I'm not. Does Cottony get fake tears too? I don't know actually.
it does get fake tears.
Yeah,
Okay.
it does.
I think Reggie Drago Cottony League could be pretty scary with Fake Tears and Dragon Energy.
Yeah. And the other thing
especially if it's a Scarf go.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got this Regidrago, which people are gonna want to cover for, but what's interesting is he's got actually 3 poison types: Scolipede, Slowking, and Gengar, which I feel like people don't really pick up poison too much, so that's really interesting to me. So yeah, I think so. Ted, sounded like you wanted to see how he uses Scolipede. I've never really seen anybody use it. That's cool. I want to see how he uses Cottony, and Womble. You said you wanted to see how Manectric fits on this team.
How he pairs that Regidrago, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting team. So good stuff for the Atlanta Talonflames. Let's just jump on down the list. I guess I'm next. I guess I'll let you guys kind of go through my team since I'm the one who drafted it. So
fun. That's fine.
Let's see. We can start the stats down here to.
I'm doing it for fun. That's
so,
fine. Because no, it's not bad. Okay, it's nothing bad.
Kind of heavy on the offense. Could maybe do better in the HP or specialty department.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, looking at the average stats, it's a pretty physical attacking team.
Yeah,
which you can see with the. Obviously, you got.
I'm honestly questioning that Boltund pick as your first pick. Honestly, I think it's a good late rounder pick, but I think Boltund really good, especially those 2 abilities specifically. Just that ping at first round is like, You know.
That was more for the mascot piece. I mean, I don't think Bolton's bad for sure, but yeah, I definitely could have wasted a first round on Celesteela and for sure got it. Which
you stole my mascot. Taking Celesteela.
That's the goal, yeah. Get everybody's mascot.
I mean, I like your dual weather mode. That's something I'm interested to see how you use.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got Prankster Lipard with Sunny Day and Rain Dance for Leafeon and Kabutops.
Yeah, it's a.
Yeah, I'm also interested in seeing how to utilize the Celesteela because you can go 2 ways. You can either go with Stall, or you can utilize its Meteor Beam with Mental Herb. Well, not
Power
Mental
Herb.
Herb, the Power Herb. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could utilize those 2 ways of style play.
Yeah, I've never used Celesteela before. So because I didn't play those previous generations, so I'm really interested to try her out. But I don't know. I had some plans early on. I kind of adjusted them obviously because of snipes and stuff, and I did trade Krogunk for Tyrogue. Huge pickup there.
I'm not sure about that pick because was it Tyrogue stats? They base 35 across the board.
Oh yeah. Big Trick Room sweeper.
So that's one thing I've got issues with your draft.
Yeah. The other thing is
your only real Trick Room mon is Hatterene.
So Celesteela used to get Trick Room, or no? Did it never get Trick Room?
No.
Oh, it never did. Okay, never mind. Yeah, because I wasn't sure about that because I was like, man, if Celesteela got Trick Room, like it would be so much better. But sadly, it doesn't. So yeah, that is tough because Hatterene's my only.
I mean, it's a good Dynamax mon candidate because you can utilize max Airstreams, max Steel Spike for the speed and defense boost. So that can be decently fast in the Dynamax format if you plan on using that.
And it's decent coverage stats as well, like Flamethrower, obviously the Meteor Beam as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm overall pretty happy. Pretty decent draft. I feel like I might make some more trades throughout the season. Though we'll see. I've already used one of them, so I've got a few things I'm thinking about. Okay, so let's move on to the Boston Red Claws here. Coached by Kershaka. Pretty scary team.
Mm.
What are your guys'
I
initial
do
thoughts?
like this draft.
You like his draft?
I like the Reggie Lucky pick, honestly.
Mm.
Even though it doesn't get a lot of coverage, it's having screens up is really good, especially for that Duraludon, especially weak to those full attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So having screens, well, dual screens actually helps his team out.
Yeah. I like the Regieleki pickup, but paired with the Togekiss as well, because obviously you can redirect attacks from Regieleki to set your screens, but then you could also do offense with it, I think. If you really wanted, but...
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really interesting because you can redirect those ground moves, like you said. Really good stats
and
across.
Well, we can't. Yeah.
I was gonna say really good stats across the board. That might be because of Regigigas here, but bumping up that average in all of them. But yeah, it's a really strong team.
Yeah, and you can't take away that Regigigas pick either, especially with Galvantula.
Mm-hmm. So I think if somebody else, because you've got the Togekiss redirection and Regieleki, it can do whatever it wants. I mean, you've also got Galvantula though, who's electric too. So I think if people don't have Lightning Rod on their team, I mean, there's a decent number of Lightning Rod users. But if you don't have Lightning Rod, this team is very scary because Regieleki could just go off on you.
Yeah, I have a Lightning Rod user myself just because of that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't pick one up, but I do have a ground type.
Right, yeah, and that helps too, for sure. I mean, you've got another thing on that though is you do have the ground type for Regieleki, but you've got Togekiss and you've got Azelf with that levitate ability. So that's those are both great covers for that, especially because people hit Duraludon with ground too. And I think another interesting thing is that like when you're laddering, a lot of people will use Weezing paired with Regigigas, but on this team, you've got a couple ways to eliminate his ability without Weezing, and so I think that'll be something that people will have to learn to play around because it's not typically how you see him. And then let's see what else I had on this. The other thing is I feel like people kind of underestimate like Azelf and those I forget what these mons are called, whatever this trio. Because he gets a ton of coverage moves, and being able to go physical or special, physical or special, and that fast speed, like that's really scary because it makes it really hard to prep for. And then the other thing is these lower tier picks I think are interesting. I'm kind of interested to see how they're utilized, like especially the Combuskin, because like I'm not one that super cares about like Firewater Grass Core. I mean, he's got like the Gorgegeist, Vaporeon, Combuskin, but like if he was just picking Combuskin to fit in that fire type mode, like he's got such good other Pokemon to use. I don't really see Combuskin coming that much. No. Unless you're using it for another reason, like coaching maybe.
Combuskin is like this. Yeah, Combuskin is like similar to Solo with that speed boost and plus the baton pass. I'm pretty sure he gets it.
Oh, okay.
It could work in a similar function, but other than that, I don't actually see him. I actually don't see him bringing it to an actual match other than utilizing that.
Yeah, and same with Absol. I mean, Absol gets justified, a huge attack stat already though, and he doesn't have any beat up users, I don't think. So
he doesn't.
So yeah, I'm not sure how he'll utilize Absol either.
That would have been something I think he could have picked up. Would have been a beat up user, but was Absol his last pick? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's tough to utilize with beat up in the first place, anyways, just because of the stats. It's like not super fast, but it's not super slow, so you can't do like a trick room beat up. So it's I don't know, and it's not very defensive either, so it would be hard to set up. I mean, you might just use that raw attack stat, and I think maybe Sucker Punch. I guess you could.
You could go Super Luck.
Yeah.
Razor Fang or something. Try and get the crit.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, so what Pokemon do you guys really want to see how they're utilized on this team? For me, it's Combuskin.
I'd like to see it does you like the Absol, really.
Yeah.
I would actually like to see him use the Gorgeist, actually. Doing that Trick Room and Shadow Sneak tech.
Yeah, and he gets that...
Weakness Policy Azel could be quite scary.
Weakness Policy Azelf. Yeah, that's true with that 115 speed stat. Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. So yeah, really scary team here. We've already seen both the both the new Reggies. Of course, those are going to be picked up fast. So let's move on to the Breaking Zolts. All right, what do you guys think of this team? We'll go down and check the stats right away. A little bit lower stats than the last team we saw, but you know, some of that's inflated when you have dual attackers like Azelf, who has really high attack and special attack, but like you're really only going to be using one per match. So,
and he does have three not fully evolved mons for EV Light, so they bring the stats down as well.
Yeah, I agree. I did notice that there's 3 potential EV users in Togetic, Bronzor, and Linoon Galar. So, I mean, he's got that Dreadnought Gigantamax with Meowstic Male, can set Rain Dance, so that's really nice. Obviously, it's like a weird team. It's like Rain plus Trick Room and Speed Swap stuff. It's really interesting.
Yeah, there are some very interesting components that will be. Does Meowstic get some Trick Room, doesn't it?
It does get Trick Room, right? So you can do Fake Out, you can do Trick Room, and do Rain Dance.
So you got 2 Trick Room setters, which is always nice. Grouchy, but as you said, the Pheromosa plus 3s because he's got Bronzor as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got Hatterene, Meowstic, Bronzor.
But also, Pheromosa speed swap with Dragouty could also be stuff that comes out.
Yeah, or even Hatterene.
Adaptability could hit hard. Or Hatterene.
I see the same as like. Go ahead.
Sorry. Oh no, you can go.
Okay. I see mostly the same as a Trick Room team, honestly, other than Pheromosa and maybe the Electivire. I could see them, or even I could see them using them outside of Trick Room. But I feel like mostly this team is mostly heavily relying on Trick Room right here. So.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you've got the speed swap stuff if you don't want to go Trick Room, but another thing I noticed with this team is that you've got Dreadnought, Dragalge, Electivire, Salazzle, all weak to ground. But you've got it covered with Bronzor, Togetic, and just Bronzor and Togetic can redirect. So I think that's interesting. Another thing I think is really interesting is you've got like this Togetic Marowak combo with Lightning Rod, and you can use like, Follow Me Earthquake stuff. So that's actually kind of, a good way to cover each other, and I think a really strong mode for this team as well. Kind of a faux Excadrill Togekiss type of deal there.
The Electivire is the one I want to see how he uses, because obviously the motor drive, is it +2 speed boost or +1?
I think it's +1, but 95 is good
I think
enough to where I think +1's
Yeah.
fine.
So if you can switch that in on one of these electric moves, get a speed boost, and then see how that goes to town with the 1, 2, 3 attack.
Yep. Yeah, very interesting. I've never seen Electivire used, so I agree that's kind of an interesting one. What about you, Ted?
I would agree with Womble. I want to see him use that Electivire and motor drive, little technique kind of thing. I'm interested into seeing that being used as well.
Yeah. Another thing I noticed with this team is you do have like Pheromosa, Meowstic, Salazzle, all kind of potential focus sash users. So not the bulkiest team, although you could have like Eviolite Bronzor, who is actually surprisingly bulky, to cover with it. But I am interested. I am interested to see how he uses. I was gonna say Electivire, but since you guys said that one, I'll say I'm interested to see how he picks up or he uses this Linoon. I've never really seen anybody use them, so kind of an interesting tier 4 pick. I mean, obviously there's not great tier 4s sometimes, especially if you pick them a lot later. But like, yeah, it's I don't really know what it does exactly. I mean, 100 base speed is pretty good if if you get some support moves, I guess. So, yeah, interesting team by the by the Breaking Zolts, by Not Shady Kid. So let's check out the Des Moines Dunsparce. That is just a great picture right there.
Yeah.
Do like his logo.
Let's check out the stats here. Okay, so pretty good on the defense. Is 85 and 93 average. A little more special oriented, looks like, but yeah, pretty good average stats all around.
One of the better we've had in the last few picks, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you can just start this off, and the pairing of Colossal and Sneasel is just a very big threat going around, and then with the Virizion as well. And then you have Moltres, Galar, and Comfey as well, which that's just 2 or 3 modes you've got there already.
Yeah, I feel like this is like a combo breaker team. Like it's just got so many combos. It'll be hard to prep for them all. I mean, like you said, the Comfey Moltres, the Colossal Sneasel, and then you've got like Gastrodon covering for the Colossal with Storm Drain. You've got Latias with Levitate and Moltres with just Flying type to cover for ground moves as well. And I think Latias gets Ally Switch too, so that's fun.
Yeah, it does.
And then you've got Virizion with the beat up. But like, I was also thinking about, you've got Comfey Virizion. You can do weakness policy stuff there, and then Virizion can set grassy terrain for floral healing. So like, there's actually some crazy combos that you can do with this team.
Another one I just saw now, Sapsip and Miltank.
Oh yeah, with Giga
attack
Drain.
boost.
I didn't even think about that. That's again just crazy combos. Yeah, and you've got Weezing Levitate, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. The one pick I'm most interested about is the Latias. Especially in VGC right now. I've actually been seeing it being used a lot on ladder right now, just due to its like massive amount of bulk. It's decent support move, pools with Tailwind, and skill swap, all those support moves. I think you could utilize that as well with this team. I think personally.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Womble?
I've been trying to toy around with Latias currently. Obviously, it's dual screens, tailwind, but then you can also keep Moltres healthy with heal pulse. Then obviously keep getting those berserk boosts if you drop down.
Yeah, I forgot I got heal pulse too. That's such a strong mon. Yeah, I mean, you also have some interesting. You have some good tier 4s here too. I mean, you got Kadabra, who's like just like I mean, you could just run it with Focus Sash, and it's effectively Alakazam, right? It's similar. A little bit less speed, a little bit less special attack, but plays the same role. And then Magneton with Eviolite's pretty bulky. And good Pokemon there.
Both got high special attack stats.
Oh yeah. I'm kind of interested to see how he uses this Miltank. Miltank has 3 really good abilities, and that helps based on you can change it up, for each matchup. And yeah, 100 base speed's pretty good. You could like run a Salt Vest on this, and like you said, do like Compe, Sap Sipper stuff to boost its attack. Or I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you could do with Miltank. So interested to see how that's utilized. All right. Well, we can head on to the next team then. Looks like Fusion Fishious. Another great logo here by Nougat Boy. Probably Nougat Boy.
Yeah, Nougat Boy. Yeah.
Okay, so another Sword of Justice here. What do you guys think about this one? Here, I'll go down to the stats.
As you said, again, we see the beat up stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Stats first.
Yeah, really, the defense is the thing that stands out here. Really defensive. But yeah, sorry, you were saying beat up stuff.
Again, yeah, we've got the beat up stuff with obviously Cobalion and Dracloak.
Mm-hmm.
But then you do have there is a hail mode if you can set the hail from Gmax Blastoise.
Or even the Vulpix Alola down here.
Yeah, I didn't see that, so yeah, we got that.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how he uses Naganadel, or however you say it.
Mm-hmm.
See how that comes out, because obviously it's very high speed tier.
Yep, high speed, high special attack.
Yeah.
I was thinking he could use like one thing that Naganadel is really cool on this team is like, you've got the big weaknesses would be ground. It's neutral to fairy, so that's not as big of a deal. Plus, it covers it with the poison, but it's also weak to ice and psychic. But you can cover that the ground and ice weaknesses with Sand/Alola, like ice and because it has that steel type, and ice, and so you could
Play-Doh has levitate.
Right. And you could do something cool like where you have you lead Sand/Naganadel. You can go for a big sludge wave with Naganadel, or you can just switch in this Vulpix Alola and start doing hail stuff. So like that's kind of a scary lead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is just that ground weakness that is very high. But also that old creamy we've not talked about with decorate stuff.
Yeah, Alchemy decorates. Yeah, I've never used it, but definitely scary. I think one thing I noticed about this team though is you've got Blastoise, who wants to usually set up with like a follow me or something like that, and you do have the Tangela Rage Powder, but since grass types like are immune to that, it doesn't necessarily help Blastoise set up that much. So
No, and Tango. Was there still Togepi on the board at that time? I can't remember. I know it went before Tangrowth,
I can't remember.
but no. So if you still had Togepi or even Togetic, you probably would have wanted one of them over.
Right. But
just for the grass types.
I mean, it's nice for the Cinderace though, because since he picked up regular Cinderace instead of G-Max, he can set the sun for Tangela, Chlorophyll, and like, you know, at base 60, if you run a little bit of speed investment, like 100 special attack, you can do some damage with Chlorophyll. So. So Womble, you said Naganadel. You want to see how that's utilized. What about you, Ted?
I think the Tangela. I mean, you already know like how it's gonna be used, but again, like what you said about being able to use Chlorophyll, I would like to see that a little bit more. The Tangela.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those mons that you pick up because you have like Chlorophyll ideas, but then like you never actually end up using it. I mean, Turtonator can set up Sun too with Max Flare, so that's nice. I really want to see him use Sandslash Alola. I feel like Sandslash doesn't. I feel like it you know, it's got a little bit of hype because it's a really good Slush Rush user. And I think another really cool thing is I feel like Sandslash Alola is one of the best Steel Roller users. Now it doesn't look like he has a terrain setter here, but it's a good way to counter opposing terrains. 100 attacks, pretty good. So yeah, I really want to see the Sandslash Alola used. So yeah, all right, solid team by Nugget Boy here. Fusion Fishious. Let's move on to the London Luxrays. Now we see the Gigantamax Cinderace. This is a solid team, especially if you just go by the stats. Like those are good averages across the board. The only thing that kind of stands out is the speed. Isn't the best, and if we go through his team, you notice that he actually only has one Pokemon above that 100 speed tier, and that's Cinderace. So it's kind of interesting.
And no Tailwind either.
I believe he has Altaria.
Oh, Silvally, doesn't it? Does Silvally still get it?
No, Silvally doesn't get Tailwind, but I think Altaria gets Tailwind. I could check right now.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Altaria does get a Tailwind.
Yeah. So yeah, that was one thing I noticed off the bat with this team. I mean, but like at the same time, I know a lot of people like to talk about like Tailwind or Trick Room, and I guess you've got Slowking if you do want to run Trick Room, but like some teams, like you've just got good stats. Like you don't really care if Incineroar's in Tailwind or Trick Room. Like he's just annoying. He's gonna hit you hard. Same with Rillaboom. So it's like you might make the trade off of the speed stats for just overall better stats in the other categories, and just and that's a trade off that I guess James Easy made. So. Still a solid draft plan for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely one combination I'm interested to see, which is that Slowking Palisand.
Okay. You mean just like a Trick Room mode or Water Compaction?
Trick Room mode, but you can then use a Surf to get your Water Compaction up and Weakness Policy.
Mm-hmm.
Which could be quite interesting.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that.
It could work, it could not, but I want to see if that is something he does try out one time.
Another thing is this Silvally, which is like Silvally in draft. I think is kind of underrated because you literally just get whatever type coverage you want, and 95 across the board is actually pretty good because you can go, bulky defensive and it gets parting shot, or you can just go physical and throw off a 120 multi attack. You don't even need to max it. It's super strong stab.
Yeah, that parting shot is definitely going to be something that could annoy people and shut people down, especially if you're cycling in parting shots or ally parting shot. So it could be pretty stally, but it could work.
Right. And having Clefable as one of the best follow me users, you've got Unaware to shut down setup stuff, like especially with all the new Beast Boost mons. I think that could be really useful. So, I mean, that's really strong. I think this is a really solid team. Like, how we looked at those teams earlier where you have, they're top heavy and you think like, okay, how are they really going to bring like, Linoon or Combuskin? It's like, I don't see any of these Pokemon necessarily being left on the bench this season. Like, I could see ways to utilize all of them. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I think, everything's probably got to use.
You're not wrong. Like, you could definitely use all these ones. So I agree with you.
Yeah. So, what else are your thoughts, Ted? What do you think about this team?
I think you guys pretty much covered everything that I wanted to say. It's a really, really good team. Like you said, you could potentially use all these ones throughout the season. So, yeah.
Yeah. He's got an excellent time zone here, UK time. I don't know. Does UK have 2 times or 1 time?
Just the one.
Oh, just the one.
Okay. I think he has 2 times.
Just the one, Ted.
I think Ted would know. Okay.
I just know British summertime. That's it.
Yeah, we have. Well, obviously, when the clocks move, we have the summertime and Greenwich Mean Time. It's still the same time. So.
Gotcha. 5 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time. That's all I need to know. Okay, let's see. Massachusetts Manitans. Starting up that Alchemy Gmax. Interesting. Really defensive team overall. Like 95, 93 average defenses. That's pretty high. Kind of low on the speed, but yeah, that's a very defensive team. What do you think about this one, Ted? So that I don't take your thoughts.
Yeah. That's fine. I think this team is, I mean, I didn't rank it really that high in my top 10 teams, but I think it's a really solid team. I think with that Swampert being able to utilize not get to bulk up. So being able to utilize that attack and defense boosts actually really good. With liquidation, can utilize flip turn to switching back and forth. Even utilize Ice Punch or Earthquake even to have that. Now I don't know if Fidger gets Tailwind, but if it does, I think he could utilize.
It does, I think.
Okay, so
it also gets
if it
yeah.
So if it has Tailwind, then he could definitely use that as well a lot.
Yeah, and something I really do like the Fletchinder pick, only because I'm not sure if Talonflames tier 1 or tier 2, but I'm not sure if you know Womble, but
tier 1, I think.
Yeah, so and that was kind of one of my things too. As I was thinking about that, I was like, I picked Liepard Hatterene, but I wonder if Purloin Hatterene would have been a better like bang for your buck, because like Fletchinder, it has that Prankster Tailwind, and it's base 73 attack. I think Talonflame's like 86. Like it's not even that much lower attack. So like you can still run like Choice Band Brave Bird and hit something super hard that like a Venusaur or something. And it gets like it gets Prankster Defog, so that's kind of cool for terrains. Which I guess I don't know if you'd be able to use that on Psychic Terrain. I know people were talking about that earlier, but still pretty cool. Little tech if you want to use that. So you could also do, well, no, I was gonna say you get Prankster Peck if you were trying to do a weakness policy thing, but nobody could really use that except Buzzwole.
No. I like, obviously you've got the Indeedee female, so you've got Follow Me.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got IQ for Belly Drum,
Yeah.
which is a nice niche. But also the Carbink pig, I'm quite interested to see.
Yeah.
Carbink gets Trick Room.
Very true.
And
yeah.
Just Taco last season, he used wireless very well under Trick Room, so I want to see if he can do that again, especially with Carbink.
Yeah, I forgot Zweilous got Hustle because, or Zweilous, whatever it is, because I was thinking, I was like, that's not like the best tier 4 pick, but like I forgot that Hustle, Hustle can make Delibird good, so I mean not really, but yeah, it's I mean that could be really strong as a Trick Room mode there.
It had 10 kills. It had 10 kills last season. It's one of the in the top 10 of the most kills last season. So
wow. That's something I would have not expected. But yeah, I like the team. A lot of different types, which is really interesting. And then yeah, this Gigantamax Alchemy, pretty interesting. I'm interested to see how he uses Buzzwole. I feel like I haven't seen people use Buzzwole well yet, and so I just want to see Buzzwole just take off. I
honestly just think it's its typing. There is so much max airstream around in the format.
Yeah, I mean with
kills it, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, even with like really high HP and defense, like a physical max, it could probably live a decent number of physical max airstreams, but a special, he's toast.
Yeah.
And but that's also if you go, like maybe like high HP and attack investment, which I feel like most do with like Assault Vest or something. But I don't know. Yeah, I really wanted to see him use well. The other thing is, I mean, with that high attack stat, like 79 is a good speed tier under Tailwind. So like, Fletching or Buzzwole, like you could just take something out right away. So, yeah, pretty interesting draft here. Really good mons, like you said, the Follow Me, the Tailwind, the I don't think you need Firewater Grass all the time, but he does have a good, Heatran, Rotom-Mow, and Swampert, especially because Rotom-Mow gets Ally Switch, so that's also annoying for Heatran if you're trying to blow it up with a ground move. So yeah, solid draft by Just Taco. I thought this was a really scary team because anytime I see a needy female, I just groan. Just so hard to deal with. Alrighty. The Middle Village Pidoves. Pidoves? I don't know.
Yeah, Pidoves.
This one I think is one of the more interesting drafts. I really like it. I think it's cool. A lot of cool Pokemon on this team. If we look at the averages, kind of low speed, pretty good attack and defense. Not the best HP, but yeah, what do you guys think of this draft?
I mean, I think the speed's brought down by Ferroseed, but
oh yeah, that's true. That 10 really lowers the average. And the stock attack 13.
But I think the Landers and was like a potentially, you could say, is really good. Slapping on Earthquake and spamming that with Telepathy, Tapu Koko, is actually really good. Bringing that like almost like every single battle. Um, So I think that's really interesting if you were ever to use that.
Yeah, I mean, you could use telepathy for earthquake stuff, or you could even just run air balloon, and I think it'd be hilarious just throwing off discharges and earthquakes, and just like, and just, I think that'd be really funny. This is the type of team I was talking about earlier, where like, obviously I'm sure Olrum had some plans with this team, but like I don't necessarily see them right away. I mean, I see some stuff, but like this is a team where it's like I wouldn't exactly know how to prep for, because I don't know, I feel like you can just do a bunch of random stuff. I don't know how he'd want to use Magmortar or Drapion. I know actually did well in the first Players Cup. There was a team that used Drapion, so that was pretty cool. And I think it was in top 16. And then you've got like this Alola Ninetales, but no Hail. So like I don't know. I'm so interested to see all of these Pokemon.
It would have been nice to see him pick up a
Slush Rush
user.
I mean, and I mean we've still got trades on the table too. So maybe there's some plans here to pick up some Pokemon in the future, but not right now because of certain matchups. So like that's definitely a strategy that could go on. I mean,
what I'm most interested to see is that Spiritomb, especially if he's coming up against screens, Infiltrator, and in Trick Room, that could actually be quite an interesting pickup.
Yeah, I mean 35's low speed, and you've got the it's weird. It's like it doesn't get Eviolite, but it's like a weaker, more physical, or more physical oriented Dusclops almost. Like it's got the dark typing, which helps protect against Ghost too.
Even pairing it with Riolu for coaching as well.
Yeah, that's true. Riolu's Yeah, I mean, I
think that'd be interesting. But
I mean, just leading like Assault Vest Landorus with Riolu and coaching is just so scary. So like it doesn't even have to be anything even super complex. Like just that mode is like, oh gosh, it's annoying. I want to see how he uses the Gmax Flapple, because I think Flapple's good. The Gmax mode, you're not setting up the grassy terrain. You're like lowering evasion, which I think is interesting because I guess you could do that for like rock slide stuff with Landorus. Or I don't know what else you would do it for necessarily. I mean, I guess it helps for Blizzard if you don't have the hail up, but
9 times Hypnosis, but
yeah, that's true. So I'm really interested to see how he uses the Gmax Flapple. What about you, Ted?
I think I pretty much mentioned it, like the Landorus type of code. But I want to see more of that, honestly, in this type of draft format.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, those are my.
Gotcha. All right. So let's move on to the next one. I may be done here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sheesh, there's so many teams. All right, Ninja Squirtles, coached by Casey1324. For those who are dyslexic, just messing with them, I guess. No, I don't know. Okay, so this seems pretty scary. Let's look at the stats real quick. Pretty good averages, a little bit lower on the speed side, and pretty high in the attack. What do you guys think about this?
It's a really strong Trick Room team with Dusclops and Guzzlord being able to pair it with break Dusclops and activate that weakness policy in Trick Room and be able to actually Dynamax it is really, really good. You could do the same thing with Morkrem and Guzzlord, even though you don't necessarily activate the weakness policy, but even without weakness policy, it's really, really good attacker in Trick Room.
Yeah, you've
There's also Shadow Sneak weakness policy Articuno, which could come into play. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dusclops again, one of those mons like Indeedee female, which like you see it and you're just like, oh geez, like because it has a lot of usage and just really pretty scary. I know that the Dusclops Guzzlord, Trick Room stuff did well in I think one of the Victory Road tourneys or something like that. But this is another team that has really solid mons all around. One where I could see all of them being utilized throughout the season, because like Machamp Gmax, I don't think the Gmax form is necessarily as good, especially because I don't know if any Pokemon would really want to go crit mode here. But just having Machamp, like
maybe.
I feel like this one was a pick for maybe like not for the Gigantamax feature, but just to have a Machamp. You can just do Scarf, No Guard, Dynamic Punch, and just be super threatening. But I mean, Articuno Galar with the competitive, and Kartana, Blastoise, Charizard, Guzzlord. You got Prankster, Morgrem. You've got an Intimidate. I mean, Eviolite, Pilot's one's pretty good. I mean, with these defenses and that attack, I know Wolf used it in the WB, and I think Rotom's actually a solid tier 4. Personally, I don't know. I mean, 95 and 91 in the special attack and speed, like, and you got the ghost typing for immunity plus levitate, like, I don't know. I think it's a pretty solid tier 4 that you could find some ways to utilize it. Volt switch weakness policy and like Charizard or Katana or Charizard or Blastoise or something like that. Like, I don't know, or even Articuno.
Yeah, like you said, Morgrem was. I think it was one I was looking at after Gmax. I wanted got sniped, so the Prankster, bulky with Eviolite, dual screens is very nice as well. I think with this team, especially for the Katana.
Yeah, absolutely. You use up a light screen for Kartana. You don't even need to run Assault Vest. You could run on like Life Orb or something and just absolutely destroy things. And Morgrem gets Fake Out too, which is nice. But this is a really scary team in my opinion. Let's see. So I think for me, I want to see how I want to see the Guzzlord get used for sure. How I want to I just thought Guzzlord was just. I think he's got a crazy design. It's hilarious, and so got that wild HP stat. I always thought it'd be funny to try to like guard split him, but I don't think anyone here really gets guard split or is a good user of it. But I always thought that would be funny.
Not that I can see, no.
But like, I mean, even just the Trick Room mode is really strong too. So I really want to see that Guzzlord get used.
It can help stay alive with that high HP for Pain Split.
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. I didn't even think about that. That's really good synergy between them.
One of the months one of the months I actually want to see being used is Womble, and Womble knows this. I got destroyed by last season, but being replaced Intimidate and Sheer Force, went back and forth. Intimidate, to have to attack up certain mons, and utilizing Sheer Force with Life Orb is really strong.
Does my
especially play head.
Yeah.
Substitute maybe.
Ice Punch.
Play rough Iron Head. That stab just with. I mean.
Yeah, for some reason it gets Ice Punch but not Fire Punch.
That's.
It gets Fire Punch, so it's quite weird. But Sheer Force boosted, which is nice.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, solid team here. I think I got time for one more, and then we can split this, almost in half essentially. Perfect team to end on here.
Yes, perfect team.
I mean, this team is just, I don't know. I don't know what you can do with this.
Controversy that's
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Actually,
I can go first on this one if you want.
Yeah, sure. Actually, solid stats all around besides the speed, to be honest. So, but yeah, go ahead, Ted.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna, bring back some certain info from the other two videos I've been in. I would say this team is really, really good. Utilizing a sheer force with a Landers with life orb hits really, really hard. Same thing here. Really good trick room run, and it can work decently outside of trick room. And I would question the Inteleon Gmax, but I think on this specific team, it could be utilized really well with that high speed and the huge crit chance.
Don't you dare question the Inteleon Gmax. I really like Inteleon. I've picked it for a draft before, and I actually think it's kind of funny. I've actually used a decent number of these mons on ladder. I actually used a team with Inteleon Gmax and Aromatisse in the Players Cup, the first one, but I mean I didn't.
So
yeah.
Inteleon Gmax wasn't my first choice of Gmax. I wanted that Gmax Grim for screens.
So you had to kind of adjust your plans throughout the
when
draft.
When I was planning out this draft, I was watching Wolfie's Players Cup review, and he was saying Glastrier with screens is just super bulky. So I literally had no clue what I wanted as a Gmax, hence why I picked the Yuxi pick before I wanted to.
I was gonna say,
but then I was re-looking.
Okay.
Then I was re-looking and I thought fast screens with Inteleon.
Uxie is 95 in dual screen, so yeah, that's pretty solid.
Yeah,
like you said.
Base 120 speed with screens is really nice.
Well, plus
and then
Inteleon covers for fire for Glastrier, so like you could Dynamax either one in that scenario. So that's actually pretty cool. But
I think it's mainly the lower tier picks that people have questioned.
Honestly,
team, but there are reasons. Reasons behind them.
I mean, okay, you 90 base HP, 75 defenses, and Eviolite, like a thing's bulky and annoying. I mean, you can just do. I mean, you can do Icy Wind. You can do. I mean, you could do Belly Drum if you really want to. You could do. I mean, in Cloud 9, shutting down weather is really frustrating, especially when you're bulky and hard to get rid of. Personally, I like Graplocked. I think he's pretty interesting. I mean, he's one of the two users of Topsy Turvy, which I think is really cool. I mean, it is hard to utilize him, especially because of that 42 speed stat. But I think another interesting thing is he gets liquidation, obviously, and like not a lot of fighting types get water coverage, so that's kind of cool.
But there was a second because if you look at the speed stats, obviously I've got Quick Soak with Inteleon, but Vegavolt 43 space speed, Graplock 42. Graplock also gets Soak.
Oh,
that gives me Trick Room Soak as well.
That's actually really cool. Yeah.
Then obviously its signature move is probably
Octolock.
Well, it is a very good move in Octolock.
Yeah, I mean trap, especially if someone's trying
Skunk Tank.
No, Skunk Tank. Don't sleep on the Skunk Tank. He's solid.
No, it gets nasty plot.
Here's what I'm curious about, right? Because I know Skunk Tank gets Sucker Punch. So could you like Sucker Punch Stench somebody, like, like basically
I could
priority flinch him. I mean Sucker Punch is just good in general. So just having Stench, the ability to 10% flinch and be kind of annoying there, like I think that's pretty interesting. And I think, does he get Gunk Shot or no? I feel like he doesn't for some reason.
He should get Gunk Shot. I'm pretty sure.
So. Can't remember off the top of my head.
Let me check real quick.
when I was just looking through the board for the last 2 picks, I was just looking at what my opponents have. So I've, 3 weather teams in my division, which was the Liquid 9, and then Snom with his Psy Spam.
Yeah.
I thought I needed a dark type.
No, I think that's solid. I mean, Skunk Tank is really solid against those psychics because he's got that dark typing, and let me see, Gunk. He actually does not get Gunk Shot, which is absolutely pitiful. Like, I mean, he doesn't have the best stats. It's like at least Game Freak could give him Gunk Shot, but no, they decide not to. But you got Poison Jab, so that's fine. And I actually really like
Poison.
Uxie's amazing.
Yeah.
But
Ted knows how much I like Cresselia. And it's basically just baby Cresselia.
Gotcha. I really want to see how you use Landorus Incarnate, because I know obviously people use Landorus Therian for the most part, but like Sheer Force Landorus Incarnate sounds really, really strong. So I want to see how you use that.
1/2/5 attack special. It can be used on either mode or even mixed.
Mm-hmm.
With Earth Power.
Yeah, I mean, if they gave it like Air Slash, it would have been like broken. But
yeah, that is my biggest issue with Landorus. It's lack of flying type coverage.
Yeah, that's tough. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to head out of here. But I think we got through about half the teams, and we can pick up with the other half another time. So thanks for joining me, and this will be part 1 of the Goomer draft analysis featuring Womble and Ted. So thanks for joining me, guys.
Yep. Glad to be here.